Hey YouTube, I'm Don Phillips, a multi-craftsman. I've tried to make a few videos off and on about projects that I do, and so that people that might be interested in projects can see some of the ones that I'm doing, and they may become interested and do the projects on their own. I don't try to demonstrate any expertise because basically I'm just an old retired guy that just picked up machining as a hobby to have something to do since I have retired. But I enjoy making projects, and I figure there's probably a lot of other people like me out there that enjoy making projects. And while many times I'm looking on the internet to find projects that interest me, I just figure well, others might be looking for projects that interest them. So I'm going to go ahead and show this project. I haven't made a video in a while, and there's several reasons. One of the reasons is because my right eye I was kind of going blind. I didn't have very good vision at all in my right eye. It suddenly started deteriorating on me, and I found out I had some kind of a macular hole in my eye, and then had to have surgery. And still, I've lost about half my eyesight out of my right eye. So I'm still doing the best I can with what I have to work with. So we put up with the weather. It is what it is. We put up with our health. As you get older, it seems to constantly go downhill, and constantly arthritis doesn't let me close fingers the way I would want to, and it's hard to bend over because of back problems. Now there's eye problems that popped up. Hopefully I got the hole repaired, but I don't have the vision updated yet. Hopefully in a few days I'll have some new glasses that might help some. So in the meantime, I did this little bitty project, and I've already done it. I didn't start videoing it in the beginning because I really didn't have a plan. I just threw something on the lathe, and I just started cutting and hoping and praying that it was going to turn out to be what I wanted it to be. And I'm kind of proud of it once it got completed. So I thought I'd go ahead and show it and tell basically how I did it, and others may see the project and may want to do it, take hints from me, or they may want to do it the way that they want to do it, and that's just fine. This is to show projects and to get people interested in getting in the shop and doing something and making something. So having run off at the mouth more than I usually do, on with the project. This project is about a Tapguide. It's just a basic piece of steel with a plunger that is spring-loaded in the middle, so that it matches up here, and it can hold the tap straight in the lathe and help you to get the tap started straight. I'm always looking for ways to improve tapping because it's one of the things I really hate to do. So I would like to make it just as easy as possible. So I have made this device right here. It is basically a piece of steel turned down. It's turned down to a ½ inch here because that's usually the largest drill chuck size, and I drilled a hole in the center for a spring, and it has a Allen screw in the top to hold the spring in, and it also has a plunger here, and this plunger, I don't know if it shows up or not, but it actually has a little bit of a taper on the end, semi-point you might say, nothing sharp, just enough to help it guide toward the center of a hole. This hole just happens to be the same size I made the plunger, so it kind of wants to go in. Some of them are smaller. Some of them have none at all. In that case, you may just have to drill one out. But I'll show exactly how I made this, and we'll get on with the next step. This piece was made out of a piece of 3/4 stock, and I turned it down just enough. I don't want to get my numbers in there. Just enough really to knock off the old corrosion off of the piece of cold rolled steel that I use, which is what it's showing 726, 720, 730, 25, 726. But that's a non-important dimension, is the outside dimension of this thing. Like I said, I turned it down just enough to make it shiny. I made it out of a piece of 3/4 cold roll, and I'll show the other end here. Now the other end, I drilled a 1/4 inch hole, and again I wanted this side here to be no bigger than a 1/2 inch, because this is right at 1/2 inch, because chuck size, most chucks on most of these small lathes that we use will not go any bigger than 1/2 inch, so I did not want any bigger than a 1/2, and that left a little bit of meat here once you drill the hole out. I had a problem with mine. I intended to drill most of the way and then reduce the size on the end to maybe an 8. This is actually looking bigger, but if you can notice, I don't know, but there's a little brass bushing in the end of mine because I forgot. I'm notorious about forgetting things like this. I bored the 1/4 inch hole all the way through it, and then I said, my Lord, I just screwed that up. But what I did was I had a piece of brass laying around, so I turned the brass down, made it about a 1/2 inch long. Would be kind of a tight fit, pushed it up in there with a little permanent Permatex. Yeah, thread. Hang on a minute. A little bit of thread locker here with the red. It's permanent. Put some on that and pushed it up in there. And then I re-drilled the hole in there a little smaller than this end. So I'm going to pull this out and show what's on the inside. Okay, the first step I did was to bore the hole. I know at this video I'm showing it has already been turned down, but the first thing I did was to actually bore the 1/4 inch hole into the piece. And once I had the hole, then I came back and I turned it down to a 1/2 inch. Since it's already been done, I'm just trying to show and tell once it's already been completed. So I know that's a pretty sorry way of doing it, but since it's already done and I didn't video it at the time, and I want to show the project, I figured this is better than nothing. So the first thing I did, it doesn't really matter, you can bore the hole at any time, but since it has more meat there and more secure, I bored the hole first, and then I came back and turned it down. Now I come back on this side and I turned off just enough on the on this end, just enough to make it shiny and to take the old corrosion off the old piece of steel that was laying around. And I also put a little bit of a taper on there. This was not precise. This diameter here is not important. You can turn it any diameter you want. This taper is not important. I was actually lazy and I didn't even set mine here. What I did was See if I can zoom out. My compound already had an angle to it. It's set to somewhere around 29 and 30. What I actually did was to run my 2-bit to the far side, put the machine in reverse, and I actually cut it from the back side, just feeding in on the compound and pulling the crossover back, and then I'd feed a little bit more on the compound and kept on until I turned it down to just a little bit of a point here. No special reason, just I thought it would look a little bit better. And on this end, since I made a boo-boo and bored my 1/4-inch hole all the way through, and I had to get a small piece of brass and turned it down to the right diameter and pressed it in the hole, and then re-drilled it to about an 8. I think I'm one size over an 8. What size did I use? 11/64. I drilled it 11/64. And I had a small piece of drill rod laying around. It says it's air hardening drill rod. I'm not really familiar with that at all. I've used water hardening and oil hardening. Well, this is the first time I have used any air, so I'm not familiar with it at all. And this is the little plunger that I have made. I'm going to see, I don't know if I can even get in that close enough. Will you pick up on it? Come on, focus. Maybe it needs light. I keep saying one of these days I'm going to learn how to use the autofocus. This is basically turned down to 2 different sizes. One for the little push in, turned down to fit that hole, 11/32 did I say it was? And this end was turned down to 1/4 so that it will not slide all the way through. So then I purchased a spring at the hardware store. I was going to roll my own spring, but I could not find a piece of music wire at the hardware store, but they did have a spring, so I said I'll cheat a little bit. I'll just buy a spring. So for about $1. For about $1 they had a spring that was a little bit better than 1.5 inches, a little bit longer than 1.5 inches, and it's a 1/4-inch spring, compression spring. So it is really just perfect. Let's see. I'm taking the piece out of the chuck here. See if I can get it on camera. So the camera, the camera doesn't really match up with things exactly where they are. I seem to have a little bit of a rough spot on it. It doesn't. It always wants to hang, but once you push it in there, it's fine. See, it doesn't. It'll push in and out with no hanging at all. And I tapped this in 5/16/18, which is a F drill bit size. F is within about 3/1000ths of a 1/4, so the 1/4 was the right size for me. So I use a 5/16. Allen screw. And I tapped it just far enough that the screw would go in and be about flush. Just about perfect. So now when we're tapping something in the lathe, this end here can go in the chuck. Take my drill bit out, I had in there a minute ago. And you can push it up on the tap handle. And hopefully this will help to get the tap started straight and make tapping a little bit easier. I can't testify to it yet because I haven't used it. I just finished building the project, and so far, hey, it's a great looking project. It's something useful, something simple, and it's something to occupy oneself for a day or 2 days, depending on how much time you get to work on it. So, alright, sorry for not videoing it while I was making it. But I just thought maybe there's somebody out there that would enjoy building this project. It's simple enough that you don't need step by step. You can just pretty much see what it is and basically how I did it, and make yourself one of these and hopefully make life a little easier. May God bless. Thanks for watching.